Okay, let's talk about a word that carries a ton of weight. Chemotherapy, right? We hear it and our minds immediately go to one specific place. But what if that's only one tiny piece of a much bigger and honestly more surprising story? Let's find out what chemotherapy really is.
Seriously, just think about it for a second. If you're like, well, pretty much everyone, your brain probably jumps straight to cancer treatment. It's a really powerful and immediate association, and for good reason. But here's the thing, it's not the whole picture, not even close.
And that is the big reveal we're unpacking today. The common understanding of chemotherapy? It's just one chapter in a much, much larger book. The term actually covers a huge arsenal of treatments for a whole host of different diseases.
So let's start with the real, honest-to-goodness definition. At its core, chemotherapy is simply using chemical substances to treat diseases caused by invaders, what scientists call pathogenic organisms. And we're talking about everything from bacteria and viruses to parasites. This simple idea is the foundation for everything we're about to cover.
So how does this actually work? I mean, how can a chemical attack an invader without just destroying the very body it's supposed to be protecting? Well, it all comes down to one brilliant guiding principle.
The name of the game is selective toxicity. It sounds super technical, I know, but the idea is actually pretty simple and elegant. The goal is to be incredibly toxic to the bad guys, the pathogens, while being as harmless as possible to the good guys, our own cells. That is the fundamental challenge of all chemotherapy.
And this is where the smart bomb analogy just makes everything click. Imagine your body is a bustling city. A conventional bomb would cause massive collateral damage, right? But a smart bomb, it can be programmed to find and destroy one single target, one bad building, while leaving the rest of the city completely untouched. That's exactly what we're trying to do here.
All right, now that we get to how, let's explore the what. What exactly are the targets for these chemical smart bombs? As you're about to see, the range is, well, it's surprisingly huge.
Okay, now this is where things get really interesting. Look at the variety here. We've got antibacterials, which most of us just call antibiotics. We have antivirals to fight viruses, antifungals for things like yeast infections. Then you have drugs for parasites like protozoa and worms. And even these highly specialized drugs for really tough chronic diseases like tuberculosis and leprosy. And then, way down there at the bottom, is the one we all know, anti-cancer. It's just one of 8 major fronts. Wild, isn't it?
Now let's zoom in on that first category, bacteria. Because even here, there are different strategies. A bacteriostatic drug is like hitting the pause button on the bacteria. It stops them from multiplying, which gives your own immune system time to swoop in and do the cleanup. A bactericidal drug, though, it doesn't wait around. It goes in and actively kills the bacteria. So it's kind of like the difference between crowd control and a direct assault.
And we see a really similar distinction with the drugs that fight parasitic worms. A vermicide, well, it kills the worm on the spot. But a vermifuge is a little more subtle. It basically just stuns the worm and forces it to get expelled from the body. So you've got one that eliminates the invader and another that just evicts it.
Okay, so now that we've seen the incredible breadth of what chemotherapy really means, let's circle back and put the most famous application, anti-cancer agents, back into context.
The target here is totally different. It's not some external invader like a bacterium. It's our own cells that have gone rogue. Neoplasia, or cancer, is just the uncontrolled division of abnormal cells. And the real danger is metastasis. That's when these cells travel and set up new tumors elsewhere. And as you can imagine, this makes that selective toxicity challenge much, much harder.
And because the target is our own complex cells, the weapons have to be incredibly diverse. The strategies are just fascinating. You have things like alkylating agents that go in and directly damage the cancer cell's DNA. Then there are antimetabolites, which are sneaky. They basically starve the cells by tricking them so they can't build new DNA. We even have super-specific weapons like monoclonal antibodies that can literally hunt down and tag cancer cells with amazing precision. It's a full-on, multi-pronged attack against a very tricky enemy.
I know, that was a lot of information. But here's the best part. I'm going to give you a few simple tools to lock these key concepts in so you never forget them. Think of it as your own personal memory toolkit.
This is so cool. To remember the difference between those drug types, just look at the endings. For bacteria, cidal means it kills, just like in homicide. And static means it stays put, it stops the growth. For worms, it's even easier. Vermicide has a C for kill. And vermifuge has an F for fugitive. It makes the worm flee. Simple, right? And how are you going to remember all 8 types of chemo? Don't worry, just group them into 4 simple buckets. First, you've got your common infections. then your parasites, then the two specific chronic diseases, and finally, the one non-infectious category, which is cancer. See? Infections, parasites, chronic diseases, and cancer. So much easier to remember that way.
So here's the main takeaway, the crucial point. Whether we're talking about a simple antibiotic for an infection or a super complex drug cocktail for cancer, the unifying principle is exactly the same. It all comes back to that one elegant idea, the smart bomb of selective toxicity, attacking the enemy while protecting the host.
So from a common infection to the most complex cancers, chemotherapy is really a story of precision-guided medicine. And it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? As our understanding of biology gets deeper and our smart bombs get even smarter, what will they be able to target next?